Well, hello everyone. This is Pastor JD from New Dimensions Ministries, located in the city of Converse, and I'm so excited to be with you once again. This morning's teaching will be part 3 of our series for the month of May entitled Elevation. And today I want to suggest 4 profound practices that will put us in a position to do exactly that, to experience elevation or next level living for our lives. They are to get a vision, to put it on paper, to make it plain, and to stop procrastinating. Now, let me share those 4 profound practices with you again as you grab your Bibles and prepare for this morning's teaching. They are to get a vision, put it down, put it on paper, make it plain, and stop procrastinating. We can locate all 4 of these in the Old Testament book of Habakkuk. Habakkuk chapter 2, verse number 2. Listen, it reads, "Write the vision, make it plain on tablet, so that a herald or a messenger may run with it." Again, that is the Old Testament book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse number 2. And I'm reading this morning from the New International Version just for points of clarity and for simplicity when teaching this lesson. He says, write the vision down, make it plain on tablet, so that a herald or a messenger may run with it. Now, the prophet, the man of God, the Old Testament prophet Habakkuk, whose name means to embrace, was respected by the Jews. He was revered by the Christian community and well regarded by his Muslim counterparts. Habakkuk is the 8th of the Old Testament minor prophets, but he is saying something really profound to us this morning. He is saying that if we're going to experience new next level living or elevation in our lives, it's going to mandate that we have a vision. So that would be number 1 in this teaching. Elevation mandates a vision. And the word vision means a supernatural picture from God that provides us with a purpose for our lives. I want to say that once again. A vision, a true vision from God, is a supernatural picture from God that provides us with a purpose for our lives. I like to say it this way. It's seeing for yourself what may be invisible to others. And it's painting, if you would. It's painting a portrait picture of where you perceive yourself, not where you currently are, but where you perceive yourself down the line or in the future. And when we have a vision, it helps all of us to chart the course of our day as well as discern the decisions that we have to make for our tomorrow. As a matter of fact, when you and I have a vision helps us to motivate ourselves. A vision helps to move us, to inspire us, to stimulate us to go to higher heights. A vision helps to encourage us. It helps to give us some sort of focus, narrowing our focus so that we can be point specific and look at the next destiny or the new dimension for our lives. A vision helps provoke us or push us, if you would, to the next level of living. Now, on the other hand, when you do not have a vision, when we lack a vision, it grounds us like an airplane on a runway. It gives us no lift at all, no boost, no elevation. We might have the ability to become airborne, but we're not cleared for takeoff because we don't have a vision. As a matter of fact, also in the book of Proverbs, it tells us clearly where there is no vision, people perish. Now, I want you to set in on the spiritual side of that, because when we do not have a vision, it also spiritually robs us of our blessing and leaves us in a perpetual state of need. Don't miss that. When you and I do not have a vision for our lives, it robs us. It steals from us. The enemy comes in and steals and kills. It robs us of our blessing, and it will leave us in a perpetual state of constant need. As a matter of fact, it causes all of us to miss the move of God that's taking place in our lives. And it also prevents us from removing all of the man-made human limitations that come into our lives as well. So number one, elevation. True elevation mandates a vision. And the only way to receive a vision is to seek the face of God for it. Now, I don't want you to miss that either. You don't have to ask anyone. You don't have to go on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. The only way that you and I can receive a vision is to seek the face of God for it and for ourselves. Let me prove it to you. Matthew tells us, ask and it shall be given. Seek and ye shall find. Knock and the door shall be open. And he's referring, of course, to the Creator. So the creature must always go to the Creator for the purpose of their lives. We have to stop asking people. What is God's vision for our lives? Because we can only find the vision for our lives by seeking the face of God for it. So that's number one. The second thing that I want to point out, and it comes from this text, is that Habakkuk communicates that elevation requires the exercise in documentation. It requires putting a pen to paper. Please don't miss that. I want to share that with somebody that's listening this morning. True elevation requires putting pen to paper. Habakkuk says, write the vision down. Habakkuk is teaching us that it's not enough. It's not enough just to have a vision. It also requires documenting the details. Let me hold and I want to stay there just for a moment, because I want to be clear in this transactional move of God, what God is speaking into your spirit. It's not just enough to have a vision. It requires for all of us to document the details, to put it down on paper. Listen, my friends. I call it having a plan. When you're talking about documenting the details, it's called having a plan. You see, a lot of people have big ideas. A lot of us have these big dreams, these big notions, these big visions, but we don't have a plan in place. And someone said that a vision without a plan is a daydream, and a plan without a vision is a nightmare. I really want to invoke that into someone's spirit this morning as this teaching goes forth by the movement and power of God. God is saying not only must we have a vision, but we have to document the vision in detail that He provides us. And a vision without a plan is nothing more than a daydream, and a plan without a vision actually is a nightmare. See, the problem that I have noticed personally is that we have a plan for everyone else, but we don't seem to have a plan for our own lives. We have a plan for our children, where they're going to school, where they're going to get educated, even where they're going to live, stay, and so on. But we don't have a plan for our own lives. We have a plan, a career plan for our employees. We have a 1 year, a 3 year, a 5 year plan where we see or forecast that we want our ministry to be. But we don't have a plan for ourselves. We want to lose weight, but we don't have a plan. We want to be financially prosperous. And I know that the Bible indicates that the obedience of God brings prosperity. But I want to submit or suggest that we also need a plan. We want a movement in our career up the corporate ladder, but we don't have a plan. Listen, I want to be clear on this teaching this morning. Let me be very, very clear. It is important that you and I clearly understand that nothing just happens. Nothing in our lives just happens. As a matter of fact, in Jeremiah, the 28th chapter, God says, for I know the plans that I have for you. And listen to me, my brothers and sisters, if God has a plan for us, why don't we have a plan for ourselves? He says, I know the plans that I have for you, to plans of hope, to bring you into the proper place of destiny. But guess what? Our plans requires documentation. So that's number two. Number two, elevation requires documentation. It requires putting pen to the paper. We can't just think about it. We can't just dream about it. But we have to actually put pen to paper. Habakkuk says, write the vision down. Now, number three. The third thing that this text points to is that elevation mandates that we make the vision plain. I like to say it this way, that it requires a clarity of content, that we exercise the power of keeping it simple. Now, that doesn't mean that our vision has to be small. But what I do want to suggest is that no matter how large our vision is, that we would keep our vision very simple. Because if you and I make our vision too large, if you and I convolute our vision, make our vision too complex or too complicated, when things change, and there is a possibility or a probability that things will change, I don't want us to get frustrated and quit or give up on the vision that God has given us. Now, I don't know who I'm teaching to this morning, but I want to speak from my own personal experience. I want to share with you that you and I must keep this thing simple. Keep it simple so that if anything changes, I hope I'm making sense to someone out there, that if anything changes in our lives, keep it simple so that if anything changes in our lives, we won't get frustrated, frantic, irritated, and give up. Again, that does not mean to have a small vision. That doesn't mean to have a small vision at all. I believe we ought to all have big visions because our God is a big God. And because our God is a God of capacity. I wish I had time to talk with you about that. Our God is a God of capacity. Whatever capacity you and I have, our God can fill it to capacity. As a matter of fact, God can provide for all of our needs through his riches and glory. He has the resources that we would need at every level of life and at every visionary, every idea, every dream point of our lives. So if we have a small vision, God can fill it because he can handle the capacity of a small vision. If we have a medium vision, God can fill it. If we have a large vision, a narrow vision, a wide vision, a tall vision, don't worry about that. God can fill whatever the vision we have to full capacity. He is able to do more and abundantly above what you and I could ever ask or dream or think of. But guess what? Whatever the capacity may be, we have to make sure that we keep it simple. So that's number three. Because I don't want you to get frustrated. I want to teach this today in terms of whatever the size of your vision, keep it simple. Document the details, but make it simple so that you won't give up, so that you won't get frustrated, frantic, irritated, and close down the dream and destiny that God has delivered to you through your vision. Number four, and this is the last point that I want to teach this morning. Number four, elevation mandates that we do not procrastinate. Habakkuk says to turn and run with it. Habakkuk says to run with the vision. You see, I believe that Habakkuk understood that procrastination happens to all of us at one time or another. I truly believe that Habakkuk understood that procrastination has a way of creeping in to all of our lives, no matter what level of life that we find ourselves. And there is something There is something in all of us that we will procrastinate. There's something in all of our lives that we know to do, and yet we keep putting off. And that, my friends, is called procrastination. But listen, procrastination also has some spiritual connotation. Procrastination is a spiritual demon. It's a spiritual demonic force in our lives that's coming against the people of destiny. It's an underdetermined enemy, okay, that comes in as it does in Proverbs, and he tells us that it leads us to poverty. I want to be clear, so let me slow down and back up this word from God for you. Procrastination is a spiritual demon. It's an underestimated enemy spoken of in the book of Proverbs that leads the born-again believer to a place of poverty. It lowers our energy level. It lowers our energy level, and it lessens our ability to focus on the destination that God has designed for our lives. I really hope that you got that this morning. I truly believe that procrastination is the fertilizer that makes difficulties grow in our lives. And if I had time, I would talk about that as well. But what I do want you to know are the reasons why we procrastinate. I don't want to teach you that procrastination is, we have to get rid of it, but without giving you the reason why to procrastinate or why we do procrastinate. There are two reasons. I think that there are two reasons that we procrastinate. Number one, we try and be perfect. And number two, fear. Fear holds us hostage and we procrastinate. Those are the two reasons why we procrastinate. Now, there are others, of course, but these are two main reasons. Number one, we're trying to be perfect. And number two, we have this thing called fear coming against our faith. Now, number one, we're too busy trying to be perfect instead of showing some progress. Now, I don't want you to miss that. Procrastination comes on the back of trying to be perfect. And we're too busy being perfect rather than our focus being on just simply progressing. And God wants us to show progression. Guess what? Show that we are progressing, not that we are perfect, because truth is there are no perfect people. Now the second part of this is fear. Fear brings in procrastination in our lives. The number two reason that we procrastinate is fear. The fear of failure causes us to procrastinate. The fear of humiliation will cause you to procrastinate. The fear of rejection will also cause us to procrastinate. The fear of having to go it alone. So trying to be perfect and holding on to fear creates and causes procrastination in our lives. Now, let me close by sharing this with you. I remember some years ago a story of a father who puts his son through college to obtain a law degree. This father has now put his son through college, and the college son has graduated. He has graduated from school with a law degree. And one day, the father asked the son, when will you start? When will you start your Texas attorney's exam, son? This is going to be a life changer for you. He tells the young boy that you've graduated from college, so now when are you going to go ahead and take that attorney's exam for the state of Texas? Because that's going to be a life-changing factor for you. The son coolly answered, tomorrow, Dad. The son said, tomorrow. I'm going to do it tomorrow, Dad. So a few minutes later, and some of you can maybe identify with this. A few minutes later, the son came to his father and asked, Dad, can I have some money to go and hang out with the guys? The father coolly answered, tomorrow, son. And I wanted to share that with you because that's the same way. That's the same way the God, our Heavenly Father, processes vision in our lives. He's saying to each of us, tomorrow, son, tomorrow, daughter. So Habakkuk is saying that after we have a vision, we need to make a plan. And after we make a plan, we now need to run with that plan. Stop procrastinating. You and I have to stop waiting on God, because the truth is God is really waiting on us. We need to make up our minds and run, like Habakkuk is saying, run. Run with the vision. Run with what God has given you in terms of your dream, your ideal. We need to make up our minds and get up and get out and start running on that vision, running on that idea that God has implanted and impregnated in us. We need to stop making excuses, stop procrastinating, and run with the dream, run with the prophecy, run with that enterprise, run with that entrepreneurial spirit that God. Stop procrastinating, stop waiting on God, because guess what? The truth is God is waiting on you. God is waiting on you to run with that business idea. Run with that revelation. Run with that revelation, that relationship. Run with the concept that God has given you. Run with that career move. If God has put something and impregnated a vision for you in your career area, you need to stop procrastinating. Step out on faith. And we know that faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. And run, as Habakkuk said. We need to run with that professional opportunity. Run with that ministry, that vocation, that imagination, that dream, that desire, whatever God has put in you. Now is the time. Now is the season to stop procrastinating. And if you want to experience true elevation, you have to stop saying tomorrow, and you have to start running with the vision of God today. So, in order to experience true elevation in our lives, we have to first of all get a vision. And that vision must come from God. It does not come from the pastor or the pulpit. It comes from God Himself. Ask, and it shall be given. Seek, you shall find. Knock, and it shall be open. The second thing we have to do is we have to put the vision down. We have to create a plan for ourselves, because nothing just happens. If God has a plan for you, according to Jeremiah, then you have to have also a plan for yourself. And you have to document the details in order to go to a new dimension or experience your true destiny. Then you have to make it plain. Keep it simple so that you won't get frustrated or irritated or frantic if the winds of change blow in. But last, I want to ask you to stop procrastinating. All of us do it. But God has a design for your life. And we need to stop waiting on God, because the truth is, God is waiting on us. This has been part 3 of our Elevation series for the month of May. This is Pastor JD. Again, I want to thank you for allowing me this time to come into your heart and come into your home. We, on behalf of New Dimensions Ministries, want to continue to pray for all of our country, all of our community, all of our city officials, those that are leading the fight over the COVID-19 epidemic that's spreading throughout our nation. Our prayers are with you. If you need to reach us, you can reach us at ndmchurch.com. You can reach us via Facebook. You can also come by when our facilities reopen in the month of June at 6630 FM 1516 in the city of Converse. We want to bless God for each and every one of you. And again, thank you for taking the time to listen. God bless and God keep is our prayer. Remember, God's design for your life is next level living. Don't stay where you are, but go with God to experience true elevation. God bless you. Thank you, and have a beautiful week.